I'm Tom, and today is the day. We are seeing the Magnificent Seven card in Manchester. I'm going to go see it live. If you're there and you see this in time, feel free to pop down, drop me a message, whatever you want to do. We can try and find each other, have a quick chat. Anyway, this is definitely Itauma's toughest test. What it also is an absolutely fantastic card. There's no doubt about it. This is a very good card, a really good card. Willie Hutchinson, I can't really pick a winner in that fight. Probably Hutchinson, but I can't say that with any real confidence. And let's look at the main event, because that's all I really have time for today. This is Itauma's toughest test. That's almost definite. This is Itauma's toughest test. There is a lot of hype around Itauma, and rightly so. He is Britain's future heavyweight division, but he's also just the future heavyweight division. He is the man, so rightly so. But naturally, with hype, comes a lot of people forgetting certain things. I've seen people saying in the build to this fight, can Franklin finally take Itauma the distance? Itauma's been the distance. He's not been all 12, but he hasn't knocked out everyone he's fought. Like, let's just remember that. He hasn't knocked out everybody he's fought. He's gone 6 rounds before, and that's not any slight on his name. He's an unbelievable boxer, but let's remember that. Let's also remember, in the build-up to this, there's been a lot of rating of Franklin extremely highly. Obviously, that's the job of promoters, right? To make Itauma's opponents seem better than they are. But let's not forget, and again, no disrespect to Itauma, he fought a very bad Dillian Whyte. He fought a Dillian Whyte who was on the beginning of his spiral. He lost that fight. I think he won that fight. I gave that fight to Franklin. I think Franklin won. Even so, it was a very close fight against a Whyte that was on the start of a slip. Then he fights Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, who had come off the back of 2 losses to Usyk, clearly didn't look himself. People were saying he was washed, he was gun shy and all of this. And he just paired up with a new trainer. So he took AJ at distance, but he lost that round fairly convincingly, losing almost every single round. Like, he didn't necessarily look in any trouble or hurt. His counter punching looked very good. If you watch that fight, his counter punch was very good, fairly quick. We know AJ struggles with the shorter fighters anyway, and he was shorter than him. And his speed was pretty good. Other than that, and this was a better Franklin than what fought Dillian Whyte as well. The Franklin that fought Dillian Whyte was 254 pounds. Franklin that fought AJ was 234, where he'd been taking it seriously. I didn't have to work in his warehouse anymore and was able to properly go full time. It was a good Franklin. AJ took in the distance, well, he took AJ the distance, I suppose. AJ looked gun shy, as I say, off 2 losses, and he lost almost every single round of that fight. But it's being billed as he took AJ the distance. Right, but contextually, that matters, because he also took in the distance, but looked poor doing it, right? So that matters. Then he had an extremely long layoff into his last fight, where he arguably lost that fight. He looked very, very, very poor in that fight, and arguably lost it against a nobody that he should have been beating after a very long time out the ring, looked unfit, looked unhealthy, didn't like he was taking it serious. Contextually, 2 weeks before that fight, he'd lost his dad, his auntie, and his cousin all in the same night, 2 weeks before the fight. So that obviously is important, that's big, and that matters. So, you know, you can kind of cut him some slack there. But what he's facing is a lot of inactivity, a bad Dillian Whyte, a mentally battered AJ, who he didn't look great again. Like, he, you know, okay, he took the distance, but it's not like he troubled him, or it was ever going to be a debate as to who won. And then off his last fight, where he didn't look too impressive. That matters. So with that, what I'm trying to say is, I wouldn't be surprised if Itauma goes in there and starches him in 2 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen Itauma. Itauma is a front foot pressure boxer. AJ didn't do that when he fought Franklin. Dillian did that a little bit, and it caused Franklin some problems. The guy he last fought did that a little bit, and it caused Franklin some problems. Itauma is a front foot pressure fighting, fast-handed southpaw. It's stylistically perfect. What we've also got is that Franklin, who can take a punch, not really give too much, but he's got 15 knockouts, but look, he's not knocking people out for fun. So he's not got too much power, good at taking a punch, and he's a high-level boxer with fast hands. So he should take Franklin a few rounds. Ultimately, the pressure is on Franklin to beat what is the most experienced fighter he has fought to date. That's what this is. It's not necessarily the best. It's not necessarily the one that's going to trouble him the most, but it is the one that has the most experience. So he might know a few tricks of the trade that Franklin won't. He maybe can take a punch better than Franklin can. He's maybe been in there with the likes of somebody who's fast, who's big, who's powerful, like AJ, that he can then apply those same rules to Itauma. The thing is, and there's a lot of pressure on Itauma to do really well, as somebody who seems to be the one that's going to go in and take over from what is an aging crop, because the current crop of heavyweights, you know, Fury, AJ, Usyk, they're all aging, and Itauma's at the moment the one that's going to take over. So there's a lot of pressure on him, and he lives in the pressure. He thrives under the pressure. But let's just remember, if he starts his Franklin in 2 rounds, which is entirely possible, that's extremely impressive. But it doesn't mean he suddenly goes in there and beats Usyk, because again, Itauma is being overhyped a little bit, and let's remember that. That said, Itauma, who is the perfect size for a heavyweight, a little bit of fluff on him, but that's whatever. At that size, there's kind of going to be, unless you're like, you know, genetically gifted. But height-wise and size-wise, perfect size for a heavyweight. Perfect pressure puncher. Perfect on the back foot. He's a southpaw. He's quick-handed. And he's got discipline. You see these interviews he's doing where he seems like he almost already doesn't like the sport. He said he likes elements of it, but there's also elements he doesn't like. That's the nature of the beast. I think that shows to me he's got discipline. So all green lights are there, and Itauma will win this fight. I don't think it will be a 2-round start. I just think Franklin's got the experience. I'm torn between a late stoppage and a points victory. I could see it being unanimous decision points or like 8-10 stoppage. That's my prediction, people. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, a comment, subscribe, and all this YouTube stuff works, people. Peace.